Hi there, guys. My name is Daniel, and I know that I've gone by Danny in the past, but there's been some changes actually, and those particular changes will be talked about in this video once I get to the questions. So, these questions were posted on Pagan Perspective as a video topic by Cara, and she wanted to give the opportunity for people to respond via video. Like the old days of YouTube, where you could go in and respond with a video and see that video right there below the other video, and be able to click on it and go and see more people's opinions on something. I never was able to particulate. I was never able to participate in that, because back then I was like, I don't know, I was really young. I was still a teenager, and I didn't think that I would be able to do videos at all. I was like, oh no, videos are for cool people. So, of course now I know anybody can do YouTube videos. So, getting right into these questions that Cara gave, the first question ties into a little bit, ties into some of the other questions here. Number one is, what is your favorite thing to study in your path? And that's like asking a studious middle school student what their favorite subject is in school. As I remember being in school and I liked everything. It was easier to ask what I didn't like to study in school, which was math, which is really interesting because the thing that I'm currently diving into is numerology. I actually was inspired to check out numerology by Cara. She said that she wasn't very good at math, but she enjoys it anyway, and that she ties it well into tarot and into zodiac, the Greek zodiac signs and such. So I am actually rather, I said Greek, didn't I? It's Roman. It's Roman, isn't it? I'm rather enjoying my studies there. But overall, I actually am just kind of studying witchcraft in general. I'm kind of just starting to learn how to even do witchcraft, and I've gotten pretty far, I'd say, in like the basics at least. I very much have a very solid foundation at this point of what I believe in, what I am choosing to use in my path, and what things I'm choosing to not use in my path. And that's another thing I need to thank Pagan Perspective for. They've really helped me open my world, and I really, really appreciate that. So, the second question is, what's your favorite thing about where you live? And this is a very deep question. There was another part to this question. What do you like about where you used to live? And I'm not going to answer that part exactly, but where I used to live ties into what I like about where I live now. Where I used to live, where I grew up, people generally, not always, but a good portion of the people that I knew were very discriminatory. Not towards races, but towards genders and sexualities. They weren't racist, but they were discriminatory in many, many ways. This is including my family. They were the society I lived in, I would go to work and people would completely ignore me, in favor of a non-LGBT, or an employee who wasn't very obviously LGBT. They would go and talk to them instead, which, I learned to just shrug off. That's just part of life. People need to learn, but they're not going to learn by me yelling at them for it. So I just learned to live. People looking me up and down and calling me ma'am, things like that, giving me very negative looks. I worked at Walmart, and that's my main. That's where I'm drawing a lot of this from, because that was when I came out and started to actually express as myself. I don't know if you can hear that. They've started construction again. Great. So yeah, at Walmart, like, people would leave my lines when I was running the cashier or cash register. People would look at me and then go and leave my line, even if my line was empty, because they didn't want to deal with me. They didn't want to deal with somebody who was very clearly transgender. So yeah, there was a lot of discrimination. And that goes into what I love about the place I live now. The reason I even moved here, the reason I'm fighting to live here, is that this place is the kindest, most non-exclusionary, most accepting and loving community I've ever been in. That's saying a lot, because my Christian community was actually quite loving, not as accepting of the variety of the world, but very loving. And this community, yeah, there's signs on every door that says inclusive and has like the LGBT flag or the transgender flag. And you walk around and you just see such a beautiful variety of humanity. It's actually, it's so amazing. I love it. I love it so much. And just that one thing. I mean, this place has also has just got a lot of natural beauty. It's in New York State, and so it's got the trees and the hills and the cliff edges and the ravines and stuff like that. But the thing that actually made me want to live here was not the natural beauty, but the natural beauty of the humanity that lives here. Even the Christian churches here, like, you'll see those same inclusive signs on them. You'll walk in and you won't feel like they hate you, and that's something that was rare in the Midwest, at least in the parts of the Midwest that I lived in. Again, I can't overgeneralize here. I know that there are places that are very loving and accepting in the Midwest, but they are few and far between, in my experience. So living here in New York, in the town that I'm living in New York particularly, they're very accepting and loving. That was a very long answer. The third question is, do you play games? What games? Do you use Discord? What for? And what's good about Discord? Multiple questions in one question, but we'll go with it. Yes, I play games. In fact, you might find some Let's Plays on my YouTube channel here, or particularly one Let's Play. I streamed playing Little Nightmares, because, well, I just kind of wanted to play that game myself, and I wanted to share it because I had the equipment to do so why not? Yes, I play games. I play light horror games. I rather I prefer to watch the more extreme horror games, but I do enjoy horror games in general. I like simulator games, puzzle games, open world exploration games like Skyrim and Oblivion. I like games like Civilization, strategy games. I like, uh, yeah, those kinds of games. Some of the more arcade style games don't hold my interest as well unless they're multiplayer, in which case I'll very much enjoy multiplayer games. But that's only video games that I'm talking about here. I also love role playing games. I love tabletop games. I have like a cabinet in my dining room that's just full of board games, and have I have so many dice. It's a problem, guys. You don't understand. I have too many dice. This is an addiction. I love D&D. Well, D&D I'm okay with. I like Pathfinder a lot. I love Pathfinder. I love the world of Pathfinder. I love the rule set in Pathfinder. But Pathfinder was the one I was introduced to first. So kind of makes sense. You typically, with a lot of things, will like the thing that you're introduced to first. And I'd love to try some other things like World of Darkness and some other games like that. And that actually ties well into Discord. Discord is definitely my go-to for communication. I use it more than Skype because it's more reliable than Skype. Actually, the connection is more reliable than Skype was. It's the features of Discord is far better. I mean, you can have a forum that also has voice chat, and you can set up your channels however you want. You can lock certain channels from a certain tag of people, which makes it very easy for you to have a gateway to make sure you're able to process people through this gateway and make sure that they're not going to do harm to your server. It's very good for role playing. Not necessarily tabletop role playing. I mean, I haven't tried it. The voice chat is good for tabletop role playing, but I prefer Roll20 for that, because you can see the game board and stuff like that. But it's I very much enjoy being able to role play, role play in the sense of creating a story together, writing out a response in novel style to somebody else's response in novel style, where they were, explaining what their character was doing, what their character was feeling. You get to also respond and explain what your character is doing and your character is feeling, and create a story together. And that's super fun. I know some people think role playing and immediately they go the dirty route with that, but that's not what it's all about. So that is definitely a app that I recommend greatly. Please use Discord. Stop using Skype. Skype sucks. Discord is very useful for so many different things. Like, you can start projects on it. You can use it to collaborate projects. It's very helpful and worthwhile to use, especially because of the voice chat features and video chat features that are just integrated in to this almost forum style platform. So I recommend Discord. The fourth question is, what books have helped you on your path? And I actually came prepared today, for once in my life. This book right here, Instant Magic, by Christopher Penczak. I'm not certain how to pronounce his name. But it is possibly, this is the foundation of my practice. If you're a newbie witch, practitioner of any kind, this book right here is so good. It takes you through all these different it takes you through what Christopher Penczak has kind of deemed the 3 stages of magic, which are the anatomy of a spell, basically, which is basically just 3 things that you kind of see in most forms of magic. You see these 3 things, and it's really useful to know this, because then you can it like completely changes your worldview. Like, you can look at prayer and see it as a form of magic, because you then look at the anatomy of a spell, like, and it makes sense, because in my life I've experienced so many things that had nothing to do with witchcraft in particular, but it worked. Like, I've seen prayer work, I've seen faith healing work, and things like that, and this explains it. And I rather love that this explains that. And it has exercises in it in addition, but it also goes through all the different ways that people view magic and, destiny and things like that. Like, it talks about the web of life and the elements and elemental worlds, and it talks about it talks about all the different paradigms that many different paths have. And it's by no means exhaustive, because, like, if you were exhaustive about that, you would fill up a whole book about the various paradigms of magical practices. But it does go through quite a few of the more popular and common ones, and seeing all of these different perspectives right next to each other about that has been very helpful. And then it has spells in it, of course, because it's a beginner witchcraft book. But it is very clear that you don't have to do these spells the way that they're written, and in fact that all you need is those 3 core anatomy concepts of a spell. That's all you need to cast a spell. You don't necessarily need to have exactly what they say here in these spells. And the thing about this book is I have not been. It's just been kind of a go back to reference book for me. Like, I had to buy it. I had checked it out from the library, and I had to go and buy it again, because because I just needed to have it on my shelf permanently and not have to return it and constantly recheck it out again, because that's pretty much what I was doing. I was going and I was returning it, and then like a week later I would come and check it out again, because, well, I wanted it in my possession. I wanted to be able to read it and continue reading it and going back and referencing it. So yes, Instant Magic by Christopher Penczak. This cost me like $9 on Amazon. It was nothing. And this is a newer copy too, actually. It's gotten some wear and tear from myself, but it was a new copy. So there's that. That was very, very helpful for me. But right now I'm actually reading this book, The Complete Book of Numerology, Discovering Your Inner Self by David A. Phillips, PhD. And it is, it's a little bit of a higher reading level than this one, but that's okay, you know, like, that's fine. It's, it can be at times a little bit, wordy, I guess is the way to say that. But it goes through pretty much all the different methodologies in numerology. And I really, really like it. I really like how it explains things. I'm enjoying this book. I might need to buy this book, honestly, so that I can have it. And it's, yeah, it's a rather enjoyable read so far. I haven't finished it. So I don't know. Like, it could have something in it that I really don't agree with. But, that's the wonderful thing about books is you get to read them and determine, hey, I like what this is saying and I don't like what this is saying. That's one of the fun parts about study, And this one I've checked out at the library, obviously. So that's what I've been reading lately. And number 5, what does ritual look like in your path? And these last 2 questions were actually part of the audition questions. And I answered actually neither of them. I went for a different question. So so you guys, Pagan Perspective, you guys get to hear my other responses. So what does ritual look like in your path? Ritual for me is rather casual, actually. For the most part, I haven't done anything that's really big or extensive. I sometimes say a little prayer and then light a candle, or I think the most extensive ritual I've done was, I don't know. Actually, yeah, the most extensive ritual I've done actually wasn't very effective for me. I actually went outside, I drew a circle, I called circle, I called the elements in, I brought out like a bunch of stuff with me. I brought out my cauldron, which is just a pot right now. And had my neighbors staring at me and thinking I was weird. And I don't know if that was why, but it was probably because it was out in public, but I had to go outside because it was a variation on petition magic, which I know is a form of voodoo and is very particular in its rules, but I did my own style. Which I can't exactly call petition magic. I'm just not certain what else to call it. Yeah, I basically tried to enchant an amethyst with certain energies, and it kind of didn't work. And I think it's because I wasn't able to put myself fully in it, because I had people staring at me from across the way. So usually my rituals are not that complex. They're kind of off the cuff, and the off the cuff ones actually work for me. So like, I know that some people in some paths would be like, no, you can't do magic off the cuff. That's not going to work. You can't do it off the cuff. But for me, I guess intuitively, doing spells intuitively works better. At least so far it does. And I'm going to stop now because I'm getting very hungry. I haven't eaten anything yet today. So thank you for watching this video. It's so freaking long. I don't even know how long this video is, but it's probably ridiculous in length. Yeah, I've been recording for almost half an hour now. So thank you for watching. I'm going to start trying to put out more videos in the future, and probably going to put out some more videos and link them on my Tumblr, because my Tumblr is where I mainly put out all my thoughts. So that's kind of how it goes. So repeating myself over and over again. Thank you so much for watching. If you want to see more, go ahead and subscribe. I'm going to try and start putting out more. If not, then whatever. You could also just follow my Tumblr and you'll see a lot more content, I can assure you. Yeah, and I'll post an update if Pagan Perspective accepts my audition, and I'll probably actually be more active if they do. If not, I actually prefer Tumblr right now, but I do look forward to hopefully joining them on that. So thank you very much. Bye bye.